Long before the pharaohs, long before the gods of Mount Olympus, someone else was in charge. They weren't just kings or queens. They were the beings who allegedly wrote the first chapter of our story. On baked clay tablets, the ancient Sumerians, the world's first civilization to write it all down, chronicled their gods, the Anunnaki. They were said to be the children of the sky god, An, and the earth goddess Kai. But were they just figures of myth, or were they something more? Down in the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, the Sumerians weren't just inventing things like cities and writing, they were keeping records. And their records don't start with human kings. They start with a pantheon of powerful gods they called the Anunnaki, a name that might mean princely offspring. At the top were An, the god of the heavens, and Kai, the goddess of the earth. Their children, including the formidable Enlil and the clever Enki, were said to have come from the heavens to bring order to the world. According to Sumerian myths, these weren't distant, hands-off deities. They were active rulers who decided the fates of humanity and were credited with bestowing the gifts of civilization. But here's where the story takes a wild turn. In the 20th century, author Zecharia Sitchin flipped the script. He claimed the Anunnaki weren't gods at all, but flesh and blood astronauts from a lost planet in our solar system called Nibiru. He argued they came here to mine gold to save their planet's atmosphere. It's a mind-bending theory, but one that mainstream scientists and historians have overwhelmingly dismissed as pseudoscience. The ancient myths from Mesopotamia tell of a time when the junior gods, the Agigi, had to do all the dirty work, digging canals and shaping the world for the senior Anunnaki. After getting fed up with the back-breaking labor, the Agigi went on strike. Facing a full-blown crisis, the god of wisdom, Enki, hatched a brilliant plan. He'd create a new being to take over the workload. And so humanity was supposedly fashioned from clay, a humble helper designed to do the jobs the other gods refused. This is where the ancient myth and Sitchin's modern theory have their most dramatic collision. Sitchin didn't see divine magic. He saw genetic engineering. In his version, Enki wasn't just a wise god, he was a master geneticist. The clay wasn't just mud, it was the DNA of early hominids, which Enki fused with the Anunnaki's own genetic material to create a hybrid slave race, Homo sapiens. This idea is a cornerstone of ancient astronaut theories, but it's crucial to note that academic translations of the Sumerian texts find absolutely no support for it. If exploring that thin, blurry line between ancient myth and modern mystery gets your brain buzzing, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss where these ancient breadcrumbs lead us next. With humanity now serving them, the Anunnaki reportedly kicked off a golden age. The Sumerian king list, a mind-boggling ancient text, claims that kingship descended from heaven and that these divine rulers had reigns lasting for thousands of years. During this mythological era, humanity was given the building blocks of civilization, knowledge of agriculture, astronomy, writing, and law. Great cities like Eridu and Nippur were founded, each with its own patron god from the Anunnaki Council. Of course, it wasn't all peaceful. The powerful god Enlil and his genius half-brother Enki were often at odds, and their divine rivalries supposedly shaped the destiny of our entire species. This era of direct divine rule came to a spectacular, watery end. According to Mesopotamian lore, the head god Enlil became enraged by all the noise and chaos of humanity and decided to just wipe the slate clean with a massive flood. But Enki, who always had a soft spot for his creation, secretly warned a good man named Utnapishtim or Ziusudra in the older texts and told him how to build a giant boat to save his family and the seeds of life. After the floodwaters finally went down, the world was forever changed. Here, the ancient myths draw to a close, but some modern theorists have picked up the thread, speculating that this is when the Anunnaki simply switched tactics, retreating from direct rule and instead governing from the shadows through divinely appointed kings and secret bloodlines. It's a fascinating idea, but it's pure modern speculation, with no foundation in the ancient texts themselves, from creators and lawgivers to judges of the underworld. The Anunnaki held all the cards in the world's oldest stories. They were said to create life, give it knowledge, and then nearly wipe it all away. So, what are we to make of them? Are these tales just the foundational myths of a long-lost people trying to make sense of the world? Or, as some today insist, are those ancient clay tablets hiding a history far stranger than we've been told? The whispers of those first gods are still out there, waiting for us to figure them out. What do you believe?